Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Culture Beyond COVID. If you think about Erasmus, do you also picture students going abroad, having a fun time, experiencing life and university in a different culture? Well, that is probably what Erasmus is best known for. However, the EU's funding program for education encompasses a wide range of opportunities in different fields of education, such as youth, sports, schools, learning languages, or adult and vocational education. One of the main priorities is to facilitate lifelong learning in Europe. So, that being said, it is obvious that today's episode of Culture Beyond COVID focuses on Erasmus Plus and the opportunities it has for cultural and creative organizations and professionals. So, here we go. Let's have a look at how the program is divided. As you can see here, Erasmus Plus is a relatively large program. In the current negotiations of the EU budget, it has also received additional 2.2 million euros, resulting in a total budget of 23.4 billion euros for the upcoming 7 years. It is divided into 3 sections or fields as displayed here. Education and training encompasses different fields, amongst others vocational training or adult education, and the aim of this category is to promote learning mobility of individuals as well as cooperation, inclusion, excellence, creativity, and innovation at the level of organizations and policies. The second category is youth, and here the support of non-formal learning mobility and active participation among young people is at the core, as well as the creative and innovative cooperation of organizations in this field. In terms of sport coaches and staff, as well as organizations, shall be supported through learning mobility and international exchanges. We will not look into these 3 categories in detail here. Instead, later on, I will only highlight where the cultural and creative sector can participate in this program. So let's move on to the so-called key action. Erasmus Plus is based on 3 key actions and the so-called Jean Monnet actions, as you can see here. We have learning mobility, then cooperation among organizations and institutions, which is named strategic partnerships here, as well as support to policy development and cooperation, and last but not least, Jean Monnet actions, which focus on learning, teaching, and research about European integration. We will have a closer look at the relevant key actions with view to culture in a minute. After this brief introduction, let's see where culture plays a role and what Erasmus Plus has to offer for the cultural and creative sector, which mostly refers to projects related to cultural education. Especially considering that Erasmus Plus also provides funding for informal learning, cultural organizations play an important role in this regard, as they offer different approaches and focuses and facilitate to experiment with new methods and formats of learning. Thereby, artistic and creative projects can tackle aspects such as social inclusion and improve the access to education of more vulnerable or disadvantaged groups, or create opportunities for intergenerational learning experiences, for example, in museums, cultural centers, or libraries. Against this backdrop, the main opportunities for cultural and creative organizations and professionals are allocated in Key Action 1, called Learning Mobility, and Key Action 2, Strategic Partnership. So let's have a closer look at them, starting with Key Action 1. Learning mobility aims at facilitating the mobility and exchange of individuals, both professionals in the field of education, as well as those still studying and learning. In the field of education and training, culture mainly plays a role in the context of adult education and vocational training. On the one hand, this includes trainings, job shadowings, and exchanges with partner organizations in order to improve the skills and capacity building of professionals in the field of adult education. Relevant topics range from intercultural competences, learning languages, and creating and hosting inclusive and creative opportunities and places to learn. Therefore, cultural and creative professionals that have a link to and expertise in these fields can profit from this funding. Looking at the category of youth work, Key Action 1 supports the mobility of professionals in non-formal youth work on the one hand, and the exchange and mobility of youth on the other hand. Thereby, non-formal education is crucial, which means that, for example, theater and circus projects or art education can offer valuable approaches for these mobility projects and youth encounters. Now, let's move on to the field of strategic partnerships. Here, public and private organizations are supposed to cooperate if they have certain activities or focuses that build a bridge to adult education. The exchange of best practices and the development of creative and inclusive teaching methods shall be at the heart of these projects. That means that especially organizations dealing with cultural education are eligible in this field, and this enables theaters, libraries, museums, and a wide range of cultural and creative organizations to apply for funding here in order to build long-lasting partnerships and improve the quality and diversity of learning experiences. Under the category Youth, strategic partnerships shall contribute to significantly improve the quality of youth work. So here, cultural education can also be a promising path to foster transnational cooperation in order to develop new methods and exchange best practices in this regard. For example, through new artistic and creative approaches in the field of street art or film. So, as you see, Erasmus Plus sees a very strong link between education and culture and offers a wide range of opportunities for cultural and creative organizations to participate in this program, especially in order to promote European values, active citizenship, and to foster social cohesion and inclusion in Europe. As always, the information provided today is only a hint or represents the current negotiations of the program. So we still have to wait for the final EU's budget to be adopted, and then the next step is that the program guidelines will be finalized and also adopted. So hopefully we can soon provide you with more details and clarifications on how the program will look like in more concrete terms. Education also matters to libraries, which had and still have to show great flexibility in coping with the ongoing pandemic. On the one hand, they are public spaces and mostly had to shut down, while on the other hand, they have experienced a significant increase in demand. How are they dealing with this? That's what we will be talking about in our next episode with Barbara Lison from the public libraries in Bremen, and she will let us know how they are dealing with their libraries in the world which is currently upside down.